Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bettner, and I'm joined today by Ash Polson to give our thoughts on our first day of PAX East and the games we got to try out. So we've already talked about Mortal Kombat 11 on the Switch, which we actually have an impressions video up already, but this is pretty much for everything else that we got to play. So, Ash, what stood out to you the most today?
Probably what stood out to me the most, it's got to be two games. Cyber Shadow, which is the game that Yacht Club Games is newly publishing, they just announced it, as well as Streets of Rage 4, which I was not expecting, to be honest. And I guess maybe I'll lead with that one, because I am eating so much crow on Streets of Rage 4. When they first announced it, I was so excited, and I saw the art style, I'm like, oh, this doesn't look so good. Why didn't they just Sonic Mania it and go with a nice pixel, original art style? And I don't know. Then I played it. It feels great. It looks great. It's awesome.
So good. So I'm so sad that we're not allowed to do off-screen or direct feed or
any sort of recording.
Because they literally have it in a small room where everything's blocked off, so nobody can just come by and film it or anything like that. They are being very protective of this. Which I don't understand, because this thing runs beautifully.
It looks great, and it's got this cool, comic-like art style, which I did not think it was going to look good, and then it does in motion. It looks fantastic.
The characters are so much fun to play, and if you've played Streets of Rage before, it feels like them. Yeah. Like the way you can hit each other by accident. There's definitely that. Yeah. You test it out to see if you can do that.
You can still stun lock enemies by only hitting them with weak jabs at certain intervals, which I thought was really cool. They kept that in. It feels like Streets of Rage's gameplay, but iterated on. That you can juggle more now, and there are super special moves that you can do once you pick up star icons. I don't know. It feels like classic Streets of Rage, but iterated upon.
Exactly.
And it's really good.
It feels like a 4. Yeah. It really does. And probably the thing that impressed me most, the thing that I loved most about this entire demo, was the revelation of how your specials work. Because like in the old games, whenever you use your special, you lose health.
Right.
Which, to me, when I played those old ones, I didn't want to use them because I didn't want to lose
it's the same as in Final Fight. Same thing would happen.
Exactly. But here, you lose that health, but it's temporary health. And as long as you can beat up opponents without getting hit yourself, you can build back up to where you left off.
Right.
If you get hit, you lose all the health that you drained from your special. And I was using specials left and right. It felt good. You can combo into them with your regular moves. There's so many combat options with just 2 buttons. It feels amazing.
It really does, and that meter mechanic, like you said, that health mechanic makes it feel kind of like a fighting game, because it almost feels like you do a parry in some fighting game, and you lose that. You've got the damage you were supposed to take, but you can recover it again, and it's like a different color of the meter. And it was just really cool. And we got to talk to the developers for a little bit. And they did say that they are aiming to make the game, longer in terms of content than what you might have expected from the first 3 games, which makes sense, of course.
Yeah, because you could beat those very quickly if you knew what you were doing. So it's going to be longer than that. They're definitely trying to have more content in this. They don't really know when it's coming or anything like that.
Yeah, no release date, not even a release window.
Yeah.
They haven't even guaranteed 2019. So far, the only playable characters we've seen are Axel and Blaze, both of whom play exactly as they should. I'm a big Blaze fan, and she played great.
Yeah.
And then I just want you guys to know, I did ask the all-important question, is Yuzo Koshiro doing the soundtrack? They would not say anything, so I hope so, because this is a game that's going to live or die by its soundtrack, because of its musical legacy, and they got to get him, or someone who can really emulate that style.
The gameplay is there.
Yeah.
I have no worries about Streets of Rage 4 anymore. It is fantastic. It really is. So if we get the music solid, which I have a feeling we will, I have a feeling. They're playing so coy with it. I'd be shocked if they didn't.
When they've shown so much love to all the other aspects of Streets of Rage, they know that the music is such an integral part. They're not going to mess that up.
Background details, it felt like it. The way the stage start with how the mission one,
same font and everything.
Exactly. It is so. It's such a love letter.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel repetitive. It doesn't feel like they're just cashing in. No, this feels like a true Streets of Rage 4. So I'm super excited for this game.
Yeah, and speaking of backgrounds, actually, you noticed something that I did in a really cool Easter egg.
Yeah, there was a thing in the background that said "Rip Mr. X," and it's like
so good,
so good.
Yeah.
So it's and there's a mention of a queen. So it's are we gonna have a Mrs. X or something like that? They won't tell us anything, of course, story-wise. But what we did see man, I wish we could show off gameplay because it is so good.
And I desperately want to see Skate in that art style. Like he has to be in.
We're getting more characters.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see it too. But however, we did get to show off the other game that we both really like today, and that's Cyber Shadow.
Right.
Sorry,
that was good.
There's a lot of ninja games out.
It seems very ninja and zombie heavy this year. Ninja samurai zombie heavy. Yeah. But oh man, this game, Cyber Shadow. I'll admit it. When Yacht Club announced they were publishing it, I kind of ignored it. I'm like, I mean, I love Yacht Club, but I mean, this game, I don't really know anything about it. Like, why should I care?
Yeah.
I played it. Now I know why I should care because it's awesome.
Yeah, it is. The controls are so tight.
Yeah, they're perfect.
It's great. Like it feels 1-to-1. It's just it's smooth as butter to control. You have just a simple jump and attack when you start with. You can't duck. You can't do anything else. Like it is so limited, but it's also like so much fun. Like I played the initial level, and you got to play the later level where you had more access to abilities.
Right.
And I still really enjoyed that first level. I got a nice feel for it. It looked good. Everything flowed well. Couldn't hear the music, but everybody that listened to it, the thing later, is talking about how amazing the music is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is one that all of a sudden is right on my radar. This is a really good game, and I actually had a lot of flashbacks to Batman on NES.
Yeah, I was thinking it's got that Batman NES vibe for sure. And, of course, those of you who play games like this probably played The Messenger recently like I did, and that's also kind of a Ninja Gaiden callback. But this references Ninja Gaiden in kind of a different way. Like, it doesn't feel like The Messenger at all. It feels like its own 8-bit ninja action 2D game, and it's just really cool. And for the stage I got to play, you do unlock permanent abilities, and one of them was really cool. You got to, do this swirly fire attack upward, and then there's this other thing. There's like a circular buzzsaw that kind of goes around you.
Yeah, what's really cool is you can get to these the checkpoints, and you can buy things, and you get these upgrades. And you got two different kinds of upgrades. One was a shield that goes in front of you, that blocks incoming fire, and then you can blast it out.
Yeah,
and it doesn't come back right away, but it's a really cool tactical weapon.
Yeah,
and another one is this killer yo-yo that's always going around you, hitting enemies, and the game is just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that as you mentioned while we were playing, that reminded me of the larger shuriken that you can use in Ninja Gaiden that keeps going back and forth around Ryu. So it's just really cool, and it's probably my favorite game that I played at PAX so far. It's one of them. It's really good.
It's really up there.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed it. I actually also really enjoyed Crash Team Racing.
Yeah.
For those of you who follow me on Twitter, we got to go in during a media hour, did an 8-player race against all humans. So it was really impressive there. It's everybody racing against each other. Not a hint of slowdown, although you did notice it was 30 frames per second.
Yes, 30 frames per second locked.
Which makes sense considering we're doing 8-player LAN.
Exactly. So
probably is going to be 60 for single player.
I would hope so. I think so. And either way, it still looks good. It's a great looking game.
There were so many little details I was seeing in the Papu ruins, the guy going to shoot his gun and it droops and all that stuff. Guy trying to desperately row up a waterfall.
No, I actually didn't notice that. I was probably too busy trying to figure out how to play because I had never played Crash Team Racing before, and I will say it maybe because I don't have any nostalgia for the series, but I didn't love it. I was like, it's cool, but it felt kind of slow and just didn't really. I don't know. I didn't love it, but again, I have no nostalgia for Crash. I have none for Crash Team Racing, so. Take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but it didn't really impress me all that much, but it was fun enough and it looks great.
Yeah, it does. The drifting is what...
The drifting's weird.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't played the original Crash Team Racing in a very long time, so I'm not sure if it was this way either. I remember the hopping. That was fine. I love the cool thing, if you hit a TNT box, it's not a guaranteed, you won't get destroyed by it right away. You can actually hop and get it off of you.
Right.
And if somebody's right behind you, they'll get hit by the blast as well, which is a cool thing.
Yeah.
But the drifting, you could drift after a while, but it was only for a limited time. There was a little meter at the bottom that filled up to red, and we didn't find out until later. We were playing with some other YouTubers, Yoshiller and Antdude, and they let us know that if you hit the other, if you hit R1 to do the drift and do the hop and drift, if you hit the other button, the L1 or R1, depending on which one you're using, that's what actually activates the boost from the drift.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know at all. I'm trying to I'm letting go at the time because I'm trying to get the timing right, looking at this and trying to do it. Somehow or another, though, despite not knowing how to properly drift or boost with those, I was able to get first place.
Us.
I got first place in Papu Ruins, and man, I wish we had recorded the race on the
Electron Avenue.
Avenue, which I'd never played before because I never played Crash Nitro Kart. So that it looked beautiful, but man, it was the top three. It was back and forth constantly, shifting positions and items flying everywhere. It was one of the more exciting kart races I've ever had, and I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
I felt like I wasn't racing my best, but I was able to eke out a win. I was really happy about it.
Right.
And you were right behind, actually.
I was in fourth.
Greatly.
Yeah, I did. From the first to second race, I improved a little bit. But, well, let's switch gears to something that I had played before, but you haven't, which was Shovel Knight King of Cards and Showdown. And now, I'd played both of these before at PAX West last year, but this is your first time playing both. What did you think?
I mean, as you said, it's the same demo from before.
Right.
But, playing King Knight for the first time, getting used to the idea that he checks into things and then uses a spin.
It's weird, right?
It's very different.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the hang of it, and there is a flow to it as you were going through the level. It felt good, but it's one of those things like, after a while you think, oh, if I jump, he'll just do the spin.
No, he won't. You gotta, launch into it.
You really gotta get to the hang of it. And the boss fight against the King of Pridemore was a lot of fun.
So good, the giant mech suit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like that,
they built him up.
That Shovel Knight charm is completely, it's totally there in King of Cards. I'm a little concerned that it's been yet another show and we haven't seen any new content for King of Cards yet, but what's there is still great.
Yeah, exactly. That might be one of those things like, well, we don't need to show anything. We have the basics. We don't need to build another demo. It's coming.
Right.
Like they said, the only reason they delayed it most recently is because they wanted to have the physical version have everything rather than do an update. So it makes sense. But King of Cards is feeling good. I've not tried a card game yet. We'll see.
Yeah. The card game was cool, but it's not like anything noteworthy in my opinion. But they did add a couple of new characters to the Showdown demo. They added Treasure Knight and Tinker Knight that you can play as, and a couple of new stages. And we had a great time playing with Sean Velasco at Yacht Club and the developer of Cyber Shadow.
Yeah, exactly.
So we had a great time just playing some 4-player matches, and it's very, very Smash Brothers like. It's exciting and fun. Lots of laughs were had.
Yeah, everybody going after those the gems they popped up and trying to get those. I was not a fan of Tinker Knight.
I didn't
He's
play him.
very tiny, so he's probably hard to hit, but all he can do is throw his wrench like a boomerang. And hits things. So it's good for long range and it's tiny to hit, but I just couldn't make it work. Maybe it's because of my first match.
Right.
Shield Knight was a lot of fun, but I actually won with Polar Knight of all things.
You did, yeah.
Because I usually don't like big, heavy characters.
Right, and I think I won with Treasure Knight and Black Knight, and I really, really like Treasure Knight because he has this anchor that he can pull himself to a certain area. He can, he has those range attacks with his anchor gun buster thing. So it's just really cool, and it's a great chance to play as all these knights from the Order of No Quarter that otherwise you wouldn't get to.
Exactly. It's a chance to actually see what their game might have been like. Very limited as far as that goes, but getting the little special abilities. The parry option is almost essential.
Very cool.
I've learned that very quick. Once they said that was an option, I was like, oh, this actually helps.
Yeah, and I can't remember which stage it was. I think maybe it was Propeller Knight stage. I'm not sure, but there's a stage we played where there's a switch in the middle of the screen that changes the orientation of a platform at the bottom.
Anybody can hit it. So if if you're going down below to get a gem and somebody's above, they can just hit that switch and send you to your doom.
So good.
It's like that's a brilliant troll move.
It's a lot of fun, and they're putting a lot. There's like a single player mode now in it. Yeah, they're putting a lot into it.
Yeah, there's basically everybody gets their own arcade story going through Shovel Knight Showdown. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, we also spent some time at Square Enix.
Yes.
And nothing too crazy because they're basically, other than Dragon Quest Builders 2, it's games we've already played. But you got to play Dragon Quest Builders 2, and I got to check out the Switch versions of Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age, as well as Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 HD. What did you think of Dragon Quest?
Dragon Quest Builders 2 is feeling very good. I played a later section of the game where they were introducing farming. I love the little animations. The writing is as charming as ever. It's builders. It's more of builders, which I'm all for. But with new ideas like. It seems like you'll be able to do more than just build a town. It looks like you'll be able to build a thriving community because you can create a farm now. Like build a scarecrow, stuck it in there, can till the farms and all that stuff, which was really cool. And then the other thing, they then built in irrigation systems. So you can sort of see where it's going with that. The only problem I had is that because I'm going more story-based and all that, and then I'm sure it won't be a problem earlier or later in the game, but you did have to wait for the NPC to till the soil. Like, you couldn't do it yourself or water the stuff. So you couldn't really do everything yourself, which would have sped things up, so you had to wait around, which is a little unfortunate. But otherwise, the animations are good. The charm is there. It's really interesting because you don't earn levels yourself, but it looks like Malroth, the guy with you that's from Dragon Quest II, actually does get levels. So
interesting. Okay,
that's an interesting aspect. So
all right.
There's a lot of twist here. Like, I love the first one. It was such a surprise for me just how much I enjoyed it. I'm still really looking forward to this. It just probably doesn't demo well.
Right. And that's kind of the same thing as the Final Fantasy games. They don't demo so well because there's a lot of cutscenes, a lot of standing and waiting. So I don't have too much to say about these, but, Final Fantasy X and X-2, I played the opening, minutes of both on Switch, dock mode, and they look fine. They look good. They look like you would expect FF10 and X-2 to look. They sound great. They're exactly what you want, I would say. Final Fantasy 12 also looks great. I would say the textures maybe look a little less good than they do in the PS4 version, but not by any major degree. Exactly. And it still has the double speed mode, which is essential for FF12.
I picked up Final Fantasy 12 on the PS4, but I didn't get a chance myself to try it. But I might have to buy it again on Switch if I ever want to experience this game, because my God, combining the ability to just play it anytime you want with handheld mode and that double speed would make grinding so much easier.
A godsend.
Like, this looks way better. So this might be the essential version of 12. Don't know about 10, 10-2. They look fine. I mean, it would be good playing on the go and all that. But solid games. Not a whole lot to say about them.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, let's take a quick detour into downer territory. Just really, really quickly, because we got to talk about Bloodstain for the Switch. Just quickly, it's not looking good. It's not. It's just. And
that's the thing. It's I don't know how many times we've seen the game on consoles at show floors. I'm not sure about that.
I played an Xbox One demo last year, I think. It's I think the Steam demo, I think I at least saw footage of it, and I'm pretty sure it's locked at 60 frames per second. But the Switch demo we played this morning, locked at 30. But it's not just that. It looks muddy. It looks soulless. It doesn't have this striking, unifying visual design that the Igavania's had.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. The other thing is, I felt like my inputs were going in later.
There's definitely input lag or input delay on the screen, the TVs we were using. And not just that, though. Even, you can correct for input lag. That's fine. But Miriam herself just feels so damn slow. I just wanted her to be faster and just move more agilely.
And this struck me as so weird that I'm not sure how I feel about this demo. When I did get, as a backer, I did get to try out the longer demo where you actually got off the stupid ship that they always demo people on, and you can explore the castle. And I was really enjoying that. And this has some new, I don't remember the visuals changing for the clothes you wear and the accessories and stuff like that. I don't remember that from the demo. So I feel like this is updated, but I don't know. It just did not feel as fun as the PC build that I got. So I don't know about the Switch version of this game. I think it'll be fine probably on PC, Xbox One, and PS4.
Yeah, and to be fair, they still have time to optimize it. It's not over. It's not dooming. Just what we played here, not so great.
I'm not going to condemn it. This game still has plenty of potential. It's just it looked very unappealing. When we saw it today.
And what we are not saying that it's another Mighty Number 9. Like, it's not even close to that.
It's not even close to Mighty Number 9.
It's disappointing, but it's not like that.
It's not horrendous.
Yeah, not at all.
Still has some visual merit to it.
Well, one game we kind of randomly checked out on the recommendation of a fan was Panzer Paladin, which was this kind of random. You play as this cool mech with all these cool like sword-like weapons, and it's a 2D platformer. And I don't know, visually it doesn't really stand out, but it's cool because you can use all these different weapons. They can break, you can switch weapons out. It's kind of hard to explain without having gameplay to show, but...
Yeah, I mean, I have off-screen footage that might be up by this time. It's hard to say.
That's true, yeah.
We'll see. But the other thing about it is that it is being made by Tribute Games, who did Mercenary Kings, who did Flint Hook, so they have a good pedigree to it. The visual language of this, though, reminds me so much of... Shovel Knight in just the visual.
It does, very much.
Very much like Shovel Knight. But you are in this mech that you like defeat enemies, and you pick up weapons. I watched you get a spear, claymore, little dirk, and you can throw them at people, and they will break after a certain amount of time of use. So you're constantly picking up new weapons,
switching in and out weapons.
Exactly, and you can use certain ones that cast magic spells and crazy stuff like that. So there's a lot of potential here, and it's still a ways off.
Yeah, like at least a year off.
Yeah, they said at least a year off. It's not coming out this year. But for where it's at, there's potential here. I don't know if I'm completely sold on it yet from watching you, but what we did see, this might be one to keep an eye on. And these guys do have a good pedigree, as we said.
Yeah. So the last thing we played today, super quick, was Katana Zero, and Andre and Tom already played that at GDC last week, so don't have too much to say about it. Got cool Hotline Miami vibes. The gameplay is really cool. It's got more of a narrative focus than I thought it would. Yeah. Not quite what I expected, but I want to play more.
Yeah. I do like, even though we're getting all these ninja games or samurai games or whatever, because Katana Zero is a samurai game, it's really cool that each one feels different. Messenger feels very different from Cyber Shadow. Cyber Shadow feels very different from Katana Zero. So you're going to get something a little different from each of these. And what I've seen, Katana Zero looks fun.
Yeah. It's very much its own character.
Yes, it is. Yeah. The dialogue system is probably one of the best parts. Like, you either stay and wait for stuff, or you can rush ahead.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm worried about is maybe length, because it has 9 days remain, and the levels themselves don't seem to change much if you're doing replays to see what the different stories like. So hopefully there'll be aspects of that. But overall, there's a lot of potential here, and I'm curious to see more.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. Like I said, it has that weird kind of Hotline Miami vibe to it. Yeah. Certainly the music as well, and I just want to check out more of it. I don't really know what to think of it, but I know I want to see more of it.
Yeah, just hopefully it won't get buried by Cuphead, because they're releasing on the same day.
Yeah.
So But yeah, that's pretty much everything we got to check out today. We'll probably try to check out more. I think we got the majority of the major things, but we'll take a look and see what we can find and give you guys an update potentially tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. And of course, be sure to subscribe to GameXplain for more on PAX East coverage and other things gaming as well. Until next time, bye.